Welcome to this two-day internal auditing for the standard ISO 9001. We're pleased to have you here and that you're embarking upon learning and expanding about internal auditing. This is the two-day class, so there's also a workshop that's only 4 hours. But this course will qualify you in order to do full system or company audits. So again, the forward for this class is an audience. It's for the standard 9001. We do have a course for 9001 and 13485, and pretty much as you're embarking to learn these, you should be able to get assigned to do audits as soon as you have completed, because that makes it beneficial. So either you're already certified and you want to add on, and for additional auditors to be qualified, this course is great, as well as if you have already completed documentation and you're ready to have audits done. So it's important of this course is to educate learners in being able to perform company internal audits. The time you invest in learning internal audit requirements will greatly enhance the development of your company's QMS. So there has to be a ways through the means that we're going to be verifying that, one, of course, you've going through the trainings, learning. Some activities will be required of you. There will be also some quizzes in order to ensure that you have, in fact, comprehended the material. This is a direct requirement out of the ISO standards. So a certificate will be issued by us with a passing level and have completed the assignments. So registrar auditors will be looking at what you did to get qualified. So this course will support that. So basically, once we have we'll have a record of the quiz. You'll get a certificate. That will be your record that you want to keep, as well as give to your HR. So registrars will be viewing these, so have these readily available at the point in time getting ready for your audit. They'll also be wanting to know and see what you went through. So, these certificates, for the most part, we may need to be in contact with you, but follow up with us in the event that it is not automated for you. Okay? Anyways, glad to have you here. So what qualifies MSI? We have participated in all of our customer certification and recertification audits. This internal audit training has been established for well over 25 years. We also perform on an ongoing basis for a lot of our customers internal audits all throughout the year. Understanding the basis of the 9001 standard helps to understand the basis of all of the standards. MSI has been around for over 25 years, assisting many companies from the implementation from scratch to full certification. We've also assisted many companies in their training, in their development, in their internal auditing. So lots of experience in taking companies from zero to full, as well as ongoing maintenance. The course objectives here are to discuss the principles and concepts around process-based, what we call quality management systems internal auditing. This course will introduce the ISO requirements for 9001 and 13485, but it's not something that you'll have sort of a level of memorization, but you should know what the intent is of the requirements in order to audit them. Also through this course, it's providing for learning and exercising the planning, conducting, and reporting of the results of the internal audit program. So it's important that whatever trainings you go through, that you're able to demonstrate comprehension of the training, mostly in order to earn the certificate and to demonstrate qualifications and actually to conduct the audits. Any company that has had audits done, the credentials of the auditors will be verified. So through this course, we're going to talk to, which is most important, is the planning of an audit, and of course carrying out the audit and the interviewing, understanding knowledge of the standards requirements, how to prepare the audit reports, and how to present the findings of the internal audit program, or the internal audits itself and the program. MSI's vision is to improve companies' performance and employees' lives by innovatively developing and maintaining management systems that deliver strategic and continuous improvements for companies in pursuit of operational excellence, and for an industry that excellence is a must. These are our values. Everyone operates to demonstrating leadership, striving towards greater excellence, integrity in how we're setting up systems in the communications, continual improvement, confidentiality, and caring for how companies pursue. So you need to be in a learning mindset and be willing to learn ISO standard concepts. You may have had past experience where it wasn't the most thrilling, but we try to make this as active as possible and to share our knowledge of 25 years so that you can gain the benefit of confidence of being an auditor as soon as possible. So why implement a QMS? When we normally start with companies, we see them being more in a reactive mode. And as the procedures are getting developed, we're beginning to see some stability. And the procedures provide the benefit of a tool to train employees, create that consistency, and establish expectations. So as the system is being developed, we want to get into what we call this PDCA, Plan, Do, Check, and Act model for the entire company. So all these are tools to integrate with your as you're embarking upon implementing a quality management system. And as auditors, how are we ensuring that all of these are all connected? So we also look at basically everybody is responsible with the attitude and behavior, and as far as implementing a quality management system and the change that it creates. So you want to have hopefully an ideal or a vision of creating a best-in-class. What I've seen as a benefit in companies implementing QMS is they have a quicker design processes for innovation. Strategic changes are handled more through, like I said, PDCA, planning the change, doing the change, checking that the change was effective, and then taking corrective actions from that. So we move this from reactive to leading edge. So what I discovered a few years ago is that another totally off-the-wall seminar, more of a personal seminar, was that people are hungry for best practices. In order to have best practices professionally and personally, we must be committed to continuous learning, like I said, professionally and personally. So 162 country representatives collaborated to define what makes for actions in regards to these quality standards. Once you take these and understand, you can create well-defined processes that meets to understood international standards for quality and even for the environmental systems and some of the other energy systems, and now a new one, healthcare. So every company is different. They have different sets of rules that they have to abide by, from a financial, from a safety, from any of those. So supporting operational planning, and then taking actions to address risk and opportunities. Overall, you want to be demonstrating improving continuously. So these are the internal audit program is the forthright, is the main push or trigger that assists in demonstrating continuously improving. Here's something nice to be fully aware of as far as the ISO family standards. There is a document that explains all of the vocabulary if you should need. Then there's these requirements, the 9001. There's even a guideline for performance improvements, 9004. It's one of my favorites. And then even there's a standard for systems auditing. So the aerospace standard, which is like the 9001 with the aerospace, of course, take. There's even a telecommunications standard, automotive standard, as well as this medical device standard, and then the 14001. There's many others. We primarily support 9001, the 13485, the 14001, and for the most part we want to be at 45001, which is the safety and health, as well as we'll be adding on the medical or the healthcare, which is 7101. So recent news is the World Bank announced of a MOU to help increase countries' awareness and involvement in the development, adoption, use of international standards that promote open and then fair and transparent trade. So what you'll see in setting up a quality management system, the principles are is to say what you're doing, do what you said you're going to do, record the results, measure what you've done, analyze it, and improve the process. So in an auditing perspective, what we're looking for is that the results are demonstrating that the departments are in fact doing what is said in the procedures. We have records to verify, and there's some measurement going on to see that it's in alignment with what sort of the expectations are. We're analyzing those processes and then improving the process from that. So when a company gets to the point where they're improving, not just from the triggers of an internal audit report, but also from just realizing that, hey, we see an opportunity to improve. This can also happen from the management reviews. So coming back, what we want to do is improve from understand what employees want, and we can help and improve sort of the job satisfaction in ways that we can identify how they contribute. The continuous learning that will happen by implementing a QMS system, because it provides for a sort of more official training breakdown, as well as, through the internal audit program where training needs become identified. When we're setting up a QMS process system, we're creating a more defined processes, and then these are verified during the internal audit. So particularly for the 14,001 or 45,001, the safety standard is the work environment conducive so that the employees can perform optimally. From the principles of 9001, there's these 7 principles, and these were used as guiding posts for in developing the quality standards or any of the other standards. So I just want to recall that the 9001 standard is the basis for all the other standards. So once it changes, then it impacts all the other standards. So it used these as sort of like the anchor points as far as demonstrating, 1, customer focus, leadership, engagement of people, process approach, improvement, evidence-based decision-making, and then relationship management. So what I like to show is basically through your internal audit, and if you're properly trained and we verify your training effectiveness, is that it should result into showing and demonstrating for financial savings. So this is well demonstrated upon from, where we see bottlenecks or where we see, a need for personnel, or we see an area that's not getting the attention it should, that could pose a problem for the company in the future. So as you're doing these audits, understand how important it is in your impact and how you're contributing to the company's growth financially as well as from a procedural standpoint. So I'll end this segment with what I like to basically refer to as once in a while is the 9004 standard, which is about above and beyond. It's the guideline for performance improvements. So it talks about at a level 4, problems, nonconformities, risks identified are analyzed. And then internal auditing focuses on the identification of good practices. So when you're auditing, of course, we want to look for what is good, but we also, of course, our job is to identify where there's gaps. And then third is where are there some opportunities for improvement that the company has potential for, they've talked about it, and objectives leads to the improvement of that. So level 5 is a process is established for the review of all internal audit reports to identify trends that can require organizational-wide corrective actions. So sometimes these need to be talked through, they need to be agreed upon, and using as a basis of the findings or improvements that were suggested to do that. The organization involves other interested parties in its audit. So it could be other departments, it could be other consulting resources,